Welcome in everybody to this KC Sports Report Show Me Football conjoined live stream. We are going to preview this AFC Championship game between the Bills and the Chiefs. Give our quick thoughts without diving too much into it. But this is your show, guys. Ask your questions down below. But Josh, I wanted to ask you first, how are you doing on this fine Tuesday evening?
You know, Michael, I am doing absolutely fantastic because the Kansas City Chiefs have an opportunity to go to their third straight Super Bowl, and they have a chance to knock off the Buffalo Bills again. And man, how sweet would it be if Patrick Mahomes could go up against Josh Allen again and beat him again in the postseason and just hand them that fourth loss.
Man, that would be, listen, this is going to be maybe the best football game of the year. Both of these teams are so evenly matched. I talked about that in my video earlier today. Same amount of points allowed, same amount of points scored over the last 10 matchups. These two teams are ridiculously close. And so anyone that's saying that, the Bills are going to blow out the Chiefs or the Chiefs are going to blow out the Bills, you don't know what you're talking about, respectfully. This is going to be a fantastic game, one that I think is going to come down to the very end. And so I think that the Chiefs are going to have a good position. They're at home at Arrowhead Stadium. I'll be at this game, fortunately. I do not want to watch an AFC Championship game loss. There's only one person that can do that tonight, and that's Josh. Josh has seen that before. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I did see that, and it was not fun. I think I sat in my seat for like 30 minutes following the game, just kind of in silence, like not saying a word, watching the Cincinnati Bengals lift up the Lamar Hunt Trophy on our home field. And Lucas talked about that in the podcast episode we just did, the Kingdom Crew podcast, guys. We just put out a new episode, so if you didn't check it out, you can find that on my channel under the Kingdom Crew podcast playlist. But Lucas mentioned, like, it's not just losing that, you're worried about here. It's losing at home. You can't lose at home. You can't lose in front of these fans and watch Josh Allen and the Bills lift up the Lamar Hunt Trophy on your home turf. Nobody wants to see that.
No. And listen, I remember, we've seen it happen multiple times, and this is something that I really do not want to see live and in person. That's going to be a very depressing post-game show. I a couple of years ago when the Chiefs ended up beating the Bengals, I was a significantly smaller YouTube channel, but I've got a post-game live from the stadium, and then I've got some videos that I actually haven't posted of, like, me on the field afterwards, and it's just like, I want that again. I want to be able to celebrate a Chiefs AFC Championship game victory at Arrowhead Stadium, get that content for you guys. And then we get, a week in New Orleans, to talk Chiefs versus whoever they end up facing, either the Eagles or the Commanders. So I am definitely excited for that. Chiefs Blitz, it's good to see you were in the house. Tony, also good to see you. I wanted to get into this comment specifically because it says Andy Reid is finally opening the postseason playbook and is going to go off. Now, when I read that, I think that we're being optimistic. But, Josh, we've kind of talked about this a little bit. I'm not as optimistic that Andy Reid has just been holding everything back and that this offense is just magically going to look much better on Sunday. Do you think that they've been holding a bunch of stuff back, or is that just a good excuse for not executing offensively?
Oh, I want to believe that they've been holding stuff back. I'm hesitant because I feel like if that was the case, we would have seen a lot more of that against the Houston Texans. And we talked about that, yesterday and the day before about, maybe it was because they knew that they could beat the Houston Texans simply by just going to Travis Kelce and utilizing that connection that him and Mahomes have. And also, just giving credit to the Texans defense. I mean, they are a strong defensive unit, very good pass rush, and that gave the Kansas City Chiefs some problems, especially early on. But I just think, man, I don't know, because there were sequences in that Texans game where it just felt like the play calling was not serious whatsoever from Andy Reid and company.
Well, and here's the thing. It takes a lot, and I mean a lot of guts and pride to go out in the playoffs against the Houston Texans and say, we're better than you. We know we can beat you. We're not going to open up the offensive playbook because we're that confident that we can beat you. we're that confident that Travis Kelce can go out there and just manipulate and molest your defense and go for 7 and a buck 17 and just completely destroy that very formidable defense. So I don't know if we should fully buy into the fact that, oh, the offense is open now. The Chiefs and the Bills, this is basically the Super Bowl. And so I think the offense is going to get better, but I don't really buy a ton of stock in the fact that this is finally the time where we see what the Chiefs offense is actually about. I feel like we've seen what this Chiefs offense is most of the season, and we keep waiting for them to turn that corner, and they haven't done that yet. But they also keep winning football games. This could be a matchup, Josh, where they win 27-24. That might be all the offense they need. And so, I mean, am I just out of touch for saying that they might not flip a switch offensively necessarily?
I mean, no, you're not, to answer the question, but I really think that I think you have to eclipse the 30-point threshold to beat the Buffalo Bills. Because even if we go back to Chiefs versus Bills in the regular season, I believe the Bills scored, 30 or 31 points, somewhere around there. I should have had that pulled up before, but I'll go back and look real quick. So, yeah, they beat us 30-21, okay? And, you wouldn't come away from that game saying that the defense was terrible, but the Bills put up 30 points. Now, the Chiefs have gotten some pieces back since that game on both sides of the ball. So you hope they are able to close the gap a little bit more. I just think, man, Josh Allen, he's playing really good football right now. He's going to come into this game playing good football with the momentum, especially after beating the Ravens. I just think, man, you have to score more than 30. I don't think you win this game without going over that 30-point threshold. That's been a number they struggle to hit. And yes, I have confidence in the Chiefs defense, but I think you have to score 30 or more to win. I really do.
Yeah, Josh, because while that Buffalo Bills offense didn't look great against the Ravens, Josh Allen struggled and they still put up 27 points. That's not the type of struggling offensive performances we have gotten from this Chiefs team. And this Bills team is very unique in a sense that they remind me a lot of the 2022 Chiefs with a worse defense. No one thought the 2022 Chiefs were going to be very good after they traded Tyreek Hill. The Buffalo Bills just traded Stephon Diggs. Everybody kind of wrote Patrick Mahomes off. Everybody wrote Josh Allen off. And he got his team back in the AFC Championship game, just like Patrick Mahomes did. Now, obviously, Mahomes went on to win a Super Bowl, but there is a lot to be said that these teams are very similar, and I have a lot of respect for the Buffalo Bills. I think they're a good team, but that defense, man, it really scares me because if Baltimore's defense or if Baltimore's offense could do that when they turn the ball over 3 times, how concerned should we be?
I don't think you should be as concerned about the Chiefs turning the ball over. I'll say that because they've been very good at protecting the football here late in the season. And Patrick Mahomes, he threw a lot of stupid interceptions at the beginning of the season, but in the second half of the season, he threw 18 touchdowns and just 2 interceptions in that latter half. So as long as they don't do that, I think they're going to have a lot better of a shot than the Baltimore Ravens did of beating Buffalo. And of course, we know this game is at home. That game was on the road for the Ravens, and that likely played a factor as well. So, there's a lot of factors that are in the Kansas City Chiefs' favor here, but also this has been arguably that second or third best team in football all year, and it's not going to be easy.
They beat you earlier this year, and I don't take much stock into the regular season because the Chiefs clearly don't, but you got to take the Buffalo Bills seriously or they can come into Arrowhead and just beat this Chiefs team. They are a better Cincinnati Bengals team from a couple years ago where nobody in the Chiefs kingdom really thought that Cincinnati had a chance. This is really the first time, with Patrick Mahomes as a starting quarterback that I look at a team and say, man, they're legit. Even last year, I was like, we can beat Baltimore. We can beat Buffalo on the road. I can see that happening with the way that the Bills have played this season, the way the Chiefs offense has been this season. I can see why you'd be more concerned. And this might be one of the scariest matchups on paper. Now, when we actually get to this game, I'm not going to be super scared because the Chiefs don't fear anybody, and I think they're going to play their best football. But it is worth noting that the Buffalo Bills are a really good football team, and I'm not trying to belittle or downplay that fact. This comment from Chiefs Blitz basically saying that behind closed doors, Andy Reid wasn't happy with the offensive line's performance outside of Jawan Taylor for good reason. That offensive line was not great on Saturday against the Texans, and even with that being said, they only gave up 3 sacks, and we've seen Patrick Mahomes hit a lot more than that. So, maybe we see a change at left tackle. That might be something that, Josh, we get into later on in this Q&A. But I wanted to go ahead and get to this comment from our friend Tiger Chief 64 saying, "Good evening, gentlemen. What do we know about D-Hop? Is the knee bothering him? We need all the weapons." Josh, I'll let you start off first.
It's a good question because he came over with that knee injury, but they've had him on a snap count for a while, and he also benefited from all that rest they just got. Maybe, but I just think I don't know if we'll know, and I'm hoping that D-Hop plays a lot in this game and makes an impact, and then we just kind of forget about it. But I don't know, man. That's a weird one, and I still don't understand him only playing 16 snaps against the Houston Texans.
In a revenge game, too. Like, we thought that, maybe DeAndre Hopkins, like in a revenge game against, this, Texans team, he's going to go off and just put on a show. He didn't do that. Didn't even get targeted. No catches. Like,
I think he did get targeted once on a slant, but it wasn't close to being completed.
Well, I know that they targeted Hollywood Brown downfield, and he somehow didn't catch the football. I thought he caught it, but they really didn't go to the wide receivers a lot in that game. And so maybe for the argument that they are pulling their punches and that they're not showing everything offensively, that would be a perfect example of that. Josh, I still have a very weird feeling. We haven't seen a Justin Watson deep ball attempt in a while. I feel like they're going to break that one out here soon.
Well, they haven't really worked. That's the thing. Like, even during the regular season, they didn't really work all that often. But I hope we see deep balls, period. I don't care who they're to. I just hope the guy catches them, whoever it is.
Yeah.
Because we haven't seen an Xavier Worthy deep ball in a while. And that was like one of those things you thought, like, as a rookie, he's at least going to be able to bring this, right? The deep ball. And you'll see them littered throughout the season. And he got open a lot, but him and Mahomes didn't really convert on them all that often.
Well, and Josh, I'll tell you what, not to preview too much of this Buffalo-Kansas City game, Xavier Worthy versus DeMar Hamlin, that could be barbecue chicken. I think DeMar Hamlin could get absolutely cooked on Sunday against some of the speed the Chiefs have at wide receiver. DeMar Hamlin's been all right. He's been serviceable. He was playing good football at one point. He is not someone that this Chiefs offense should fear. They've got injuries a lot in their secondary. Matt Milano, their starting linebacker, he was questionable with an injury that the Bills declined to comment on. He left that Ravens game for like the final 4 snaps. He wasn't in on that 2-point conversion. We don't know what's going on with him. He didn't play in last year's game in the divisional when Travis Kelce decided that he wanted to be the Travis Kelce from 5 years ago. They have some pretty big injuries that, could be a big deal in this game. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. I said it in the podcast. I think the Bills are weak at cornerback. I think they're weak at safety. And you can take advantage of them defensively when it comes to stretching them in the vertical passing game. But fortunately, we don't have too many examples this year of the Kansas City Chiefs being able to stretch defenses with the vertical passing game. And they haven't really punished bad defenses. So I'm hoping that is something that we see against the Buffalo Bills, because you're going to need some explosive plays in order to beat this team, in order to match the Buffalo Bills, because I do think the Buffalo Bills are going to have their fair share of explosive plays in this one.
They've been saving it and saving it and saving it and saving it.
That's what we hear.
More. If there is ever a time to just unload the clip, to unload the entire offensive playbook, it's in this game. And I actually think that is a perfect segue into this question. It says, hello, how do you guys feel about Chiefs Commanders in the Super Bowl? Very good question, because, Josh, I know we're both Jaden Daniels fans on this channel. That's going to be a very interesting matchup if that ends up being the matchup in the Super Bowl, because Jaden Daniels, man, he can do a lot with his arm. He can do a lot with his legs. And, that offense has some sneaky pieces. I remember, Josh, do you remember a couple of years ago when we were talking about we wanted the Chiefs to draft Diami Brown? That was one guy that I remember being like, oh, the Chiefs need to go draft him. And
yeah, I really liked him.
They've got some very good pieces. Their defense, or I guess back offensively, they got the corpse of Zach Ertz out there making plays. So, like, they've got some guys.
Didn't he make the Pro Bowl this year? He has had kind of like a mini resurgence with them. I can't remember if he did, but they were.
I know he caught a touchdown, and he might have caught another one against the Lions. Like, he's a red zone threat.
Yeah.
But Josh, how would you feel about this game?
Yeah, I would love it. I would love this matchup. I think it would be really fun, and it's really a shame. Well, I guess I shouldn't say a shame. I was gonna say it's a shame that Jaden Daniels is in the NFC. I think that's probably a good thing, competitively speaking, for the Chiefs. But there's a lot of quarterbacks that have been put up against Patrick Mahomes as like his rival, and like just none of them come close, right? Josh Allen was probably the closest one, but like he doesn't really even have any of the accolades. But Jaden Daniels, man, like, and I'm a proud Jaden Daniels believer. Like, I thought like he was my QB1. I mean, he was kind of like 1A, 1B up there with Drake May for me in this past draft. Like, I was a huge fan of Jaden Daniels, and I thought he kind of went under the radar. And man, he just broke the record for most yards set by a rookie quarterback ever in a season. And you want to talk about a guy that can like truly rival Mahomes in this league, it might be Jaden Daniels, and that offense does have a lot of pieces. And Diami Brown, like, he was kind of a bust, before this year.
Say, yeah.
But Jaden Daniels, I mean, hey, maybe he just needed a quarterback, and because he has been a huge part of their offense, especially in the playoffs. And they got a lot of weapons still. Terry McLaurin, and like you said, Zach Ertz, he's kind of had like a mini resurgence for them. So that is a dangerous team, and they should not be taken lightly if that's who it ends up being in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, because if they do end up making the Super Bowl, I mean, to go on that kind of run where you're on the road for 3 straight playoff games, you go into Tampa Bay, end up winning that game, you go into Detroit and just thud the number 1 seed in the NFC, and then you go to Philly and beat the Eagles. That is an impressive resume. And so if they do get to that point, you've got to take them seriously, because if they don't, it's a Eli Manning versus the Patriots situation. This is like a guy that could absolutely win a Super Bowl if he got there. This isn't a, Brock Purdy. This isn't a Jimmy Garoppolo. Jaden Daniels is legit. And so it could be a very good Super Bowl matchup, but I'm not going to go that far yet, guys. We still have to win this game against the Buffalo Bills. And Josh, I want to get your thoughts on this, and then we'll kind of get into the community tab posts, because we asked you guys to ask us questions earlier today on the community tab. But I've seen a lot, and I mean a lot, of Buffalo Bills fans that are coming into this game basically of the mindset that we are going to win this football game. And I guess I want to ask you, how does that make you feel? And do you think that that could be a big mistake?
I think you have fans on both sides that say their team's going to win no matter what. There's a lot of Chiefs fans that like say, I'm not scared of the Bills. And like, maybe you are, and that's cool. Good for you. But like me personally, like, yeah, this is a nervous matchup. Like, the Chiefs could very easily lose to this team. Josh Allen doesn't play bad games in the playoffs. The Chiefs have to be on their A game. And like, I think if you see a similar offensive performance as to what the Chiefs had against the Houston Texans, they will not win this game. They have to be better. The Bills right now are playing better football than the Kansas City Chiefs in the postseason, specifically. Just the postseason. Of course, the Bills have played more games because the Chiefs had the bye and then only played the divisional round, but the Chiefs will have to put up more points, and they will have to convert on more red zone opportunities if they want to take down the Bills. And I understand this game is at home, so people are going to get mad at me for saying that. No, the Bills have to take us down, not the other way around. But like, I'm nervous about this matchup.
I am too. And listen, just because we're nervous, guys, doesn't mean that we're going to pick against the Chiefs, or maybe we will. I'm not. I don't know if Josh is, but
No,
we're not going. Are you going to bet against them, Josh?
no, I'm not.
Okay. So we're not going to bet against the Chiefs. But there is a lot of reason to be like, oh, like this is going to be a football game. And I think that, showing the stat that there's, pretty much not very many differences between what these two teams have been like in the last 10 matchups. They've got the same point different or the same, points scored versus points allowed, and they've won the same number of games. Now, obviously, the Chiefs have won 3 of those games in the playoffs when it truly matters. But eventually, I'm not saying it's this year, eventually Buffalo is going to break through, or Baltimore is going to break through, or some other team in the AFC is going to break through. I hope it's not this year. The Chiefs are trying to do something that's never been done in NFL history, and that's three-peat. But eventually, Josh Allen's going to get one. Lamar Jackson probably won't get one, but he might find a way to get one. Like, there is so much talent in the AFC, Josh, that I feel like the Chiefs cannot waste away this very opportunity to actually go three-peat.
Yeah, if they pull out the three-peat, man, I don't know if I would care if they didn't win again for another 2 or 3 years, because I want that three-peat so bad, man. Like I want the three-peat. It's never been done before, and I think just with how hard it is, because it's really hard to win back-to-back, let alone
hard to win one. It's hard to win one, Josh. It is impossible to win one.
But this may be Mahomes' only chance to do it. This may be the Chiefs' only chance to do it. I don't know if you're going to get another chance to three-peat, and I lean towards saying they won't have another chance. So I want it, and I want it now while it's here, while they have this window of opportunity.
Yeah, no, it's right in front of them. They just have to go out there and execute. And if they are holding back their offense, it's time to let it rip. It is time to let everything that you've worked on through the offseason, in training camp, OTAs, the preseason, even the regular season, let it rip. This is the time to not hold anything back. You've got 60 minutes, and then you're going to the Super Bowl with a chance to do something that no other team has ever done before. I don't even know if a team has made the Super Bowl in their 3rd year when they're trying to three-peat. That might be something that no one's ever done before. Am I wrong about that?
Say that again.
Has there been a team that is going for a three-peat that actually made the Super Bowl?
I
think most of them lose in the conference championship.
Yeah, I don't believe so. Could be wrong. Could be someone in the comments that could tell us. But yeah, I'm not sure, man. I really want this one, and it's funny because I feel like I say every year I want this one more than any other Super Bowl, but it's just because the stakes keep increasing every time you win, and the expectation is to go and do it again. And so it's like, if you can do that, it's like there's another level of the mountain. You think you climb to the top, and it's like, oh wait, but we could still do this, and you get up there. It's like that level that's above the clouds that you can't quite see, and you're like, oh, this is a lot taller than I thought. But it's possible to get to the top, and the Kansas City Chiefs, man, they have a chance to make history.
When it's like, if they get 3, could they get 4? could you go?
Yeah, exactly. And then next year we're going to be back here, and I'm going to say I want this one more than any other Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and a lot of fan bases are sitting here begging for just one. Looking at you, Cincinnati.
This one would mean a lot. This one would mean that you've accomplished history. You also don't know how many years you have left of Travis Kelce, Andy Reid. Guys, it is not a guarantee to get to the conference championship game, and the Chiefs have made that the Arrowhead Invitational. It is not that easy. And so you have to capitalize when you're in these moments, because you never know how many more you have left. I'm sure that the Denver Broncos, well, probably not back when they won it in 2015, they probably thought they got all the time in the world to go back to Super Bowls. They just made the playoffs for the first time in 9 years. There's plenty of teams that go and never go back. Like the Rams. It's just like there are so many reasons why you have to go out and handle business now, because the future is not guaranteed, guys. Patrick Mahomes, I'm not even going to say it, could suffer a very bad injury in the future and never be the same quarterback and have to retire, like an Alex Smith type of injury. I'm knocking on wood right now. Like, you never know what could happen in the future. You got to go out and take care of business now. And Josh, I think that's probably the best segue to get into our community tab posts. I want to kind of set you up here because one comment that we got on my community tab post, on your community tab post,
There's more than one.
Oh yeah, it was a bunch of them. It involves a little officiating. So with that being said, go ahead and tee off on the officiating and the people that continue to just say the Chiefs have this game in the bag and it's rigged.
Well, so first of all, before anything, for those of you that are in here live, if you didn't get a question in on either of the community posts, you can certainly still throw your questions down below on this live stream, and we'll get to them. This is a live Q&A. Also, I never said this at the beginning, but you guys may notice some disco lights behind me, and this has been kind of a tradition that I do for the postseason. I have those disco lights in the back. But Michael, we were undefeated in the postseason when I had the disco lights on.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, man, like, and my parents, you know, they would call me and they'd be like, hey, I saw your disco lights on in your latest YouTube video. And, you know, we didn't like it. We thought it was stupid. But guess what? We're undefeated with the disco lights. So they are here. They're back.
Can't stop it now.
Yeah, you can't. So there's that. Now, community posts. I had more comments on mine about the referees than legit questions. And secondly, guys, and like Chiefs fans, look, we're all Chiefs fans. You know, we have a mutual respect for each other. But guys, if you see a community post that is calling for questions, stop commenting stuff that is not questions for the mailbag. Like if you're responding to someone else or whatever, like one of their questions, like sure, whatever, I don't care, but like just leave questions, man. It's like I will put out a community post saying mailbag questions, and I just get comments, just like pointless comments about God knows what. But anyway, yeah, I have comments from people saying, go commission refs. Let's gift wrap another Super Bowl for KC. Someone else said, this is a question that I got. How much does buying refs cost nowadays? You know, Michael, we've talked about this before behind the scenes. You know, Clark Hunt, he's writing some large checks to the referees to make sure that Kansas City wins in the postseason and gets to the Super Bowl. I mean, the price has gone up in recent years too, you know, as the Chiefs
inflation, man.
And you know, when you're trying to make history too, the refs, they're able to demand more money because they say, you want this 3-peat, you're going to have to pay a little bit more.
It is just, I mean, like what do you say? Like I've been making videos on it because like I made a video earlier today talking about like Chiefs derangement syndrome and just like how the NFL has lost their minds when the stats show the Chiefs actually don't get more favorable calls than like anybody else. And in fact, they get called for more stuff that other teams don't. And it's just like, it's so crazy. We've gotten TikTok edits of grown men begging for Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen to save them. I don't know where we've gotten as a society where we've got grown-ass men on the internet that are begging for a team to beat another team. It is crazy, Josh. The coping is insane, and it's not going to matter. It's not going to do anything because at the end of the day, we saw this stuff last year. Chiefs had all this, like, you know, all the hate, stop us or stop them, please. Didn't matter. They went and won a Super Bowl. So good luck. Good luck, guys. Mickey, to answer your question really quickly, that is still up in the air. I am not sure what will end up happening with that, but I'll keep you posted. Absolutely. We don't talk about that enough, guys. Like Josh Allen had an official come over to his bench, pat him on the back and say, sorry, I missed that one. Like, Josh, that's got to be tampering. Like, there's got to be something in the rule book against that.
If that was Patrick Mahomes and a ref came over and patted him on the shoulder and was like, don't worry, man, I got you, we would never hear the end of it, ever.
They would show that, Josh. They would show that. Like, you couldn't escape it. It would be like if the Chiefs end up losing, log off social media for a while. The only place you should be on social media is right here on KC Sports Report and Show Me Football, because we're going to give you the real in-depth coverage. You're going to see so many people that try to just take down and diminish what this Chiefs team does. But at the end of the day, hypothetically, Josh, Chiefs end up losing to the Bills. Let's just say that it's a very close game and it doesn't go down in their favor. Will I be crushed? Absolutely. I've got a trip to New Orleans just kind of riding on this. We'd both be crushed. But at the end of the day, oh, you guys can't see it because my thing is cropped. I've got 2 flags on my wall from back-to-back championships. Can't take that away. At the end of the day, you're back-to-back Super Bowl champions, Josh. You can't win it every year.
Yeah, but I will say, I want them to win really badly. And someone said it earlier. I believe it was Tony Fuentes, but
shout out Tony.
He was talking about how there's just like, multiple players on this team that you just want to see win a ring. I want to see Kareem Hunt win a ring. I want to see DeAndre Hopkins win a ring. Guys that it's not a guarantee that they're on this team next year. I want to see them win a ring. And who knows, maybe if someone like DeAndre Hopkins wins one this year, he decides to ride off into the sunset and call it a career. Because winning the Super Bowl, that's the one thing that a lot of these guys still haven't really accomplished in their career. And once they do that, it just is a very fulfilling feeling.
Yeah, like absolutely. And so that's why, like, I don't care. Like, you guys at the end of the day, and not you guys, the loyal people that are watching this live stream, I know that you're completely bought in. You do not think that, this is rigged against, teams in the NFL, that the Chiefs are cheating. I mean, seeing all the Chiefs are cheating comments just make me laugh. But to those people that want to give, me and Josh both shit for, the Chiefs cheating, apparently, at the end of the day, it's helping us. It's helping us grow. Just continue to feed the hate. But I will say, if we do put out a community tab post, do not put just random comments. Give us some questions to talk about, because it does help us kind of
give us some substance, please, because mine were just filled with trolls about the rest. But I did get one funny one, and there is an expletive in this, but I just wanted to read it because it was funny. But someone said, doesn't cost anything. When you're winners, you win games, not cry like bitches and make excuses because your team could not get it done. That was probably the best comment that I got on the community post.
Goodness gracious. It's everything. Like, it's gotten to the point where it's so bad that I have to address it in videos, because I'll do
you got to chum up the waters.
I'll do a Chiefs Texans recap and I get 30 comments, maybe honestly, probably in the hundreds of comments by this point that are like, the Chiefs are freaking cheating. The Chiefs are cheating. And it's just like, what do you even say to that? Like, it's just like, you just don't know ball. You just do not understand how the NFL works. You don't understand how football works. And so, listen, at the end of the day, keep commenting. It's just helping us grow, but it is very interesting. So
yeah, and it's funny, Michael, because while you were saying that and how everyone claims that the Chiefs are cheating and they get all the calls and stuff like that, another brand new Josh Allen flop mixtape just dropped.
Oh, yeah? The flop tape?
Yep.
Okay.
New one.
And I would show it. If this stream didn't get demonetized and potentially taken down, I would show it, because the world needs to know that Josh Allen is a great actor. And listen, Josh, I don't want to turn this into a stream all about the refs, but part of being a great quarterback in the NFL is knowing how to manipulate the officials. You saw it happen for 20 years with Tom Brady. He was always bitching about a call. It might have not even been a bad thing. Nothing might have happened, but he's in the official's head. Patrick Mahomes, doing what he does, maybe he flops every now and then. Good. Eventually, they're going to give you a call. Like Josh Allen flopping, that is smart. I hate it. I hate Josh Allen for doing it, but I understand it, because it's how you get the officials to, give you certain calls. Because, okay, listen, guys, objectively, you've got a 260-pound quarterback in Josh Allen, who might be, well, let's go with Mahomes, a 220-pound quarterback running towards the sideline. A 320-pound lineman is chasing him and might just shove him a little bit, but he's getting towards the sideline. If he flops, a 320-pound lineman could push you pretty far. Like, I feel like, that's just smart. That's strategic. And I don't have any problem with Mahomes doing it. I want him to do it more.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of like college football with NIL and the transfer portal, right? Like, none of the coaches like the rules, but they're still going to take advantage of them to the fullest while those are the rules, because otherwise you get left in the dust. Everyone else is doing it. Like, Josh Allen does it. And here's another thing. The Kansas City Chiefs are like one of the most penalized teams over the last couple of years. So, the Chiefs are in this position where They're just taking advantage of the NFL and the rules and how the quarterback is protected. And Patrick Mahomes has utilized the sideline a lot. Sometimes he'll pretend like he's going out, and if the defender stops, then he will quickly stop and then not go out of bounds and just keep running. And that's happened a couple of times. And so I think, eventually we're going to have to rework the rules and how we protect quarterbacks. Because, I do think they should get protection, but man, that's really hard for a defender where it's like if you don't commit to shoving him out of bounds, he could run right past you, keep going. But if you do commit to pushing him out of bounds, you could get penalized for it. And, that's really difficult as a defender. And I understand people's frustration, but at the same time, that's just Patrick Mahomes taking advantage of the rules, man. And every other quarterback and every other team is doing it as well.
It's just what you got to do. And so, listen, I just do not understand. I don't understand the just complete, what's the word I'm looking for? I posted about it earlier. The derangement, the entirety of the NFL just like not being able to cope with the fact the Chiefs are just better than your favorite team. Shout out to King Jamie. Shout out to Graham. Why don't we go ahead, Josh, and get into some of the comments that I got?
Let's
a little bit better of stuff, but at the same time, let me just read these really quickly. Fake, phony, fixed, and predetermined outcomes all season long. Dupes, wake up.
That guy, I actually remember reading that one on yours, and I had the same guy comment on my channel, not on the community post, but he went out of his way to watch one of our videos, Michael, and I'm going to try to find it, but you can go ahead and look.
I'll read the next one. I'll read the next one. Yes. The only question I have is, can they just play the game without referees at all? Because it's not going to be fair contest anyway. So everyone just cut the bullshit because the whole world knows how this game is about to go. And then it's just a bunch of just meaningless nonsense. I will talk about this comment saying that he's a Cowboys fan, that he wants the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, which that one was a crazy one to see. But let's get into some of the legitimate questions that we did receive. This one from Mr. Alto Man said, what do you think of the chances of the Chiefs signing D-Hop or Hollywood next season? Josh, what are your thoughts on that?
I think Hollywood is more likely than D-Hop. I don't think it's impossible that both of them come back. Hollywood's more likely than D-Hop. That'd be cool if both of them were back, but it feels like if not for the Rashee Rice injury, they don't trade for D-Hop. And Hollywood Brown was still a part of the plan even when Rashee Rice was healthy. And also, Hollywood Brown is younger, probably going to be cheaper. You could probably give him for the exact same contract that you just gave him. And he didn't get to have the season that he wanted and, go and test the market again after having a big year. So Hollywood feels a lot more likely than D-Hop.
Yeah, I think that Hollywood would make sense because he didn't really play this season. He's someone that wouldn't command a multi-year deal right away. He'd probably come back for a one-year prove-it deal. If he balls out, he goes elsewhere and gets paid. But, it really is a question of if he can stay healthy. Josh, I just got a fantastic question over from the Instagram side of things from Drizzy City. He asks, what do you think the Bills' weakness is? Which is a very loaded question. And honestly, it's probably something that we'll get to in another video at some point this week. But, is there anything that initially jumps out to you as a giant weakness for this Bills team?
Secondary. Run defense, potentially. Because they did kind of let the Ravens kill them on the ground a little bit. But outside of that, I don't see too many weaknesses. It's Josh Allen in the playoffs, man. That's the toughest thing. And their offensive line is very strong. And their wide receivers, while they don't necessarily have like a number one stud wide receiver, they have just a lot of quality options on that offense.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I feel like, honestly, their offensive line is really good. I guess where I'm not talking about what's good, I'm talking about what's bad. I feel like that secondary can be exposed. And I also think that for as good as Josh Allen is and as good as James Cook has played, we've stopped Derrick Henry in the playoffs before. There is no excuse for, Cook to just absolutely run all over this defense. They've got to figure out some way to contain not only Josh Allen, but that Bills running game, which is much easier said than done. But if they can't do it, they're not going to win the football game. So it's just like, you got to figure out how to do it. And that probably involves Drew Tranquill and, Nick Bolton and then Leo Chenal to be the spy. But they're going to have to figure out some way to stop that.
Yeah, James Cook is very good, and he's come on strong as of late. But the Kansas City Chiefs run defense has been a strength of their defense all season long, which is not something we could really say in the past. Even last year, as elite as the Chiefs defense was, you could run the ball on them a little bit. This year, it's not been easy for teams to gain yards on the ground against this Chiefs team. So you've got the tools to stop James Cook on the ground. Now, my concern is James Cook in the passing game. He is a good receiver out of the backfield, and you're going to try to see them go up against Nick Bolton in coverage. And if that was a matchup that they kind of exposed in the regular season, and if that happens again, could spell trouble for the Chiefs.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like you kind of just have to pick and choose your battles that you want to fight, because the Bills are a great team, and offensively they can do a lot of different things. And if James Cook is the one that beats us, so be it. Just take Josh Allen out of it. And as much as you can, you really can't stop Josh Allen. But I feel like between those two options, listen, James Cook is going to have to be someone that, in order to beat the Chiefs, he's going to have to go for couple 100 yards and like 3-ish touchdowns, which he's capable of doing on the touchdown side because he had like 17 during the regular season. But again, make him beat you. Don't let Josh Allen do it. Make some other part of their offense beat you, which is much easier said than done. But I feel like you just can't let Josh Allen beat you. Hey, I do want to really quickly. So do you remember when Kevin Harlan was calling the game against the Broncos and he, Lutz ended up kicking the ball and Leo Chenal blocked it and he just goes, blocked!
Yep.
Prime Connor's blocked.
That's funny.
That was a very long segue of doing that, but decided to go ahead and do it.
That's hilarious.
It's fun to have control, Josh. It's really fun.
Yeah. But hey, look, if you have haters, that means you're doing something right.
Man, I just catching strays. I don't know even what I did.
Yeah. I don't know either. But no, that was a great call by Kevin Harlan, though. I mean,
fantastic.
And also Leo Chenal, you don't talk about him blocking kicks. He got his hand on that one against the Houston Texans. Like and that's, honestly, that's a factor that you have to talk about too. Like, Leo Chenal, and wasn't he the one that blocked the extra point in the Super Bowl last year? Like,
yes, he was.
He's an absolute menace on special teams, man. And those are the kind of plays that honestly can change the outcome of games.
He is blocked going back and counting because he blocked that one in the divisional, I'm pretty sure, against the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
He had that one, the Super Bowl, the one against the Broncos in the regular season. He had the one against the Texans. Like, goodness gracious, he might get paid a lot of money to go do that for some other team. And it's awesome that, like, he's a starting linebacker who actively participates in special teams, doesn't shy away from that. And he's a beast, dude. Like, really, they've got a couple guys on that, special teams unit, like George Karlaftis and Justin Reed, who have just made it very difficult for, other teams' kicking games. And who knows, Josh, if a little blocked extra point or a Bass miss could be the difference maker in this game. Points are going to be at a premium, and it's going to be an interesting weather game for their kicker, Tyler Bass, who historically and famously missed that kick last year to lose in that game. He's been good so far. It's almost like it's going to crumble.
He had a rocky period during the regular season too, where, they started talking about maybe getting rid of him, and like he's kind of cleaned it up since then, but it feels like he's due for a miss.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he's absolutely due for a miss, like most kickers are. No, King Jamie, you're all good. I had fun with it. I got to turn it into a block segment. So, yeah,
No,
all good
you
for
played
me.
that perfectly too. Like I was like, where is he going with this?
Where
I'm
is
not
he
too
going
sure.
with this Kevin Harlan callback? A Broncos
Uh,
callback before we play the Bills in the championship game? No, it worked out fine. But I feel like, let me go see Instagram comments. I'm like jumping back and forth between the Instagram and the YouTube comment section so we can get all the questions. And also, let me go look at the community tab post, because outside of all of the ref slander, there are a couple good questions. I want to get to this one from Enterprise NCC 1701. He's a consistent viewer on both of our channels. Shout out to him. He said, will the United States FEMA have enough tissues for the whiny babies if the Chiefs make it to New Orleans trying to three-peat? That's a very quick answer.
I don't know. Will they?
No, they will not. The entire dude, there's probably going to be tens of millions of people that are pissed if the Chiefs win this game. The next question maybe isn't super deep. Oh, it's actually for my guy, Nick Madrigal. I didn't see that at first. But it says, what is next if the Chiefs don't three-peat? Which I shouldn't have taken it so deep. But like, Josh, if they don't three-peat, then we get into the offseason and all the contracts that they're going to have to, make up for. And, you're going to have to do a lot of re-roster construction that could be a pretty big deal. So what happens if the Chiefs don't three-peat?
Lucas kind of hinted at this in the podcast that we did. If they lose, you could potentially see them make some changes, maybe not what I would call major changes, but you're going to see a retooling of the roster and bringing in some new fresh faces, because sometimes, and I felt like this is what happened towards the end of that like 2019 to 2021 Chiefs era team, is it was the same group of guys. They won the Super Bowl and then they lost in the Super Bowl and then they fell short of the Super Bowl, and you could feel it declining year by year. And it was the same old guys like Tyrann Mathieu, Frank Clark, although, they did end up bringing him back on a new contract, but they definitely tried to cut some of the fat there as far as the financials. And you saw them bring in some new faces, and Anthony Hitchens was out, and they just kind of retooled, because it feels like after a while, once you have the same group of guys and they've won a few times or they've experienced a lot of success, they lose that hunger that they once had. And you just have to bring in new people. You have to bring in new blood.
Which I will say, one guy that I absolutely love, and I can't believe it at times that he is still on the roster, is Mike Pennell. Honestly, I love Mike Pennell so much, I might consider getting a Mike Pennell jersey. He was someone that I was like, man, he's kind of old back in 2019 when we were stopping Derrick Henry on the Titans, and he's somehow still back here and making plays in 2025, Josh. But he's someone that I feel like has been around forever and has that juice. To kind of answer the question, though, the Chiefs don't win the Super Bowl, you still go on with business as usual. You're going to have to make some changes, probably in free agency, and also just, you're not going to be able to return all 53 guys. Players are going to go other places, sign different contracts in free agency. So every offseason you're retooling. This one could just be a little bit different of retooling. Maybe you're getting more players.
I think a lot. I think like one move that I look at in particular is like a Justin Reed. Traditionally speaking, maybe that's a guy that you bring back. If you don't three-peat though, and the secondary is a part of why, or is a reason as to why, maybe you don't bring Justin Reed back and you let him go, and they bring in a new face as a veteran safety in that room in the free agent market, or you see them make additional moves to an area of weakness, being extra aggressive, like adding an extra edge defender, a pass rush specialist. And they kind of tried to do that when they traded for Joshua Uche, and for whatever reason, that didn't work out, and I wish it did, because I still think he could help this team. I think they lack a true speed rushing option, a fastball for Steve Spagnuolo to have on defense. But you'll see them, be a little more aggressive, I think, because if you lose and you fall short, that's not acceptable for this team. It is Super Bowl or bust every year for them. And, they're serious about getting back each time that they fall short of that goal.
Absolutely. And getting that fresh blood in. Listen, guys, for the 30 people that are watching right now, the offseason, we don't stop making coverage. That's actually probably what we're going to ramp up because we've got like mock drafts and free agency and training camp. We're going to have so much content this offseason that you guys do not want to miss out on everything that we're going to talk about, but also like the Chiefs get to rebuild this thing again. That's why the offseason is so exciting for all of the other teams in the NFL. This is their chance to rebuild their squad, to go beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs get to go rebuild their team too. And that's why they get the draft. That's why they get free agency. And kind of talking about the Justin Reed guy that they might lose, they like Hicks a lot. They like him a lot. And he could be someone that, out with the old and with the new, he might be the starting safety next year for this Chiefs team. That's how good he has been. And you're a 2022 draft class away, Josh, from just saying, let's go win another one. Let's go get another one. That 2022 class, Josh, historic.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of Veach's best drafts, and they got a lot of value as well. Also, I did see this comment just popped up, so I'm going to throw it up there. But ABT says, or no, click the wrong one. He says, why would Patrick relax after getting a three-peat? And I think that's a great question / comment.
Get another good one too. We'll get to that after.
Yeah. So are you talking about this one right here?
Yes.
Because we can go ahead and throw that in as well.
Okay.
If Patrick loses this game, it ruins this legacy and hurts him in the Patrick versus Brady debate. And I disagree with that. And you can probably already tell that Michael does too, because Brady, after winning, I believe it was his third, did not win another one for 10 years. Mahomes is already at 3. If he doesn't three-peat, I mean, will it suck? Yeah. You obviously want that while you have this window of opportunity, but any that he wins in the next 10 years, I mean, will put him on pace to top Brady still in Super Bowls. And we talked about this in our live stream, I believe, last week too. And that's also assuming Mahomes plays until he's 45 like Brady did, which maybe not going to happen. But I think he could definitely play until he's 40. And he doesn't necessarily have to win the same amount or more as Brady to be considered better than him. Now, completing this repeat would go a long way towards that, though. That's for sure.
He doesn't need to win this game in order to still be in the GOAT conversation. Now, if he doesn't win this game and he never goes back, then yeah, we're going to probably view this as a pretty heavy loss on his resume. Everyone said this after the 2018 AFC Championship game. Everyone said this after losing to the Bengals in the AFC Championship game. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, they remember the wins an awful lot more than they remember the losses, assuming that you have those wins on your resume. Right now, he is one of the handful of quarterbacks to win 3 Super Bowls. So it's like he's already cemented his legacy as a top 5 quarterback ever. The rest is basically just gravy on top. But I will say, he's not going to stop. He's not going to not feel motivated to go out there and do it. But there's only guys, you can't win it every year. Eventually, someone's going to beat this team. I don't know when that's going to happen. Hopefully not this year. Hopefully not next year. Eventually, it's going to happen. It's just how football works. It's how sports work. And I'm okay with that. But eventually, you're going to have to rebuild this thing. And that's what the Chiefs have an opportunity of doing this offseason.
Yeah, and he also followed it up and said that you meant to say that if Patrick loses in the Super Bowl, then it ruins his legacy and hurts him in the Patrick versus Brady debate. Again, I disagree because that would still only be Mahomes' second loss in a Super Bowl, and Brady lost twice to Eli Manning.
Yeah, and Nick Foles. We forget about that. And Nick Foles. Yeah, I'm not. We got to stop talking about his legacy like it could really get any worse at this point. Like everything that he does just makes it easier to say that he's better than Brady all time because he's doing stuff at his age that has never happened before. He's going to break all of Brady's records. I mean, he's already got half of the postseason records that Tom Brady has, and he hasn't even played half of the seasons that Tom Brady played. So I think that you're going to see that over time, he's going to stack these wins, and it's gonna go a long way towards his resume. But I do also want to get to this comment from our guy Mickey. He says, even if we three-peat, do you guys think Spags walks away next year? Josh,
walk away in what?
Yeah.
Walk away in what way? That's my question. Are you asking if he gets a head coaching job? Because I think if he gets offered a head coaching job, he'll take it. But why would you go from fielding head coaching interviews to walking away as in retire? That doesn't make any sense. Because if you were that close to retirement, then you wouldn't be interested in a head coaching job.
No. He's interviewed for multiple head coaching positions. And here's the thing, Spags is not going to retire. The odds that he gets a head coaching job, in my mind, aren't very high. There's only 4 available jobs right now. I don't think he's going to Jacksonville, maybe the Jets, but the Jets, like Glenn, the defensive coordinator of the Lions, I don't think that Spags is going to get a job in this coaching cycle. And thank goodness, if you lose Spags, you've got to do some massive overhauling of that defense, not only just, coaching staff wise, but personnel wise as well. So I do not want to lose Spags. I'd be okay with losing Matt Nagy. I don't think that he's really that, instrumental to what the Chiefs do offensively, but I don't think you can lose Spags because what he does, he's the coach of the defense. He's also probably the guy that controls all of that stuff. I don't think that Andy Reid has any output or input rather on what goes on defensively.
Yeah, and also because you just kind of ran through some of the coaching options there for Spags, and one of them is also the Raiders, in which he interviewed for. But you can't take that job if you're Steve Spagnuolo because you're in the same division as Mahomes and Andy Reid. And it's the Raiders. You're essentially set up for failure if you go there. If Spags has any chance of succeeding as a head coach, he'd have to get out of the division. And also, just talking about the Raiders coaching job in general, because they just lost out on the Ben Johnson sweepstakes as he went to Chicago. Funny. But I do think there's a real, I'm not going to coach in the same division as Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid type thing, or a stigma that comes with it. And so it makes it a hard job to sell to any coach, let alone Steve Spagnuolo.
Yeah, I feel like he's not going to leave unless he gets a head coaching job, and I don't think the odds that he gets a head coaching job are that high. But Josh, we're getting really close to an hour, and we both got stuff to do. But let's talk a little bit more for just 5 minutes on what you think one key to beat the Buffalo Bills is. We can talk about that for 5 more minutes. Get your questions in, guys. Last few minutes of this live stream Q&A. What do you think is one thing the Chiefs have to do, Josh, in order to beat the Bills?
You have to go at least 75% on your opportunities in the red zone.
Okay. I like that. I like that a lot. I haven't actually thought about that. Oh, man. I feel like the gimme is that you can't turn the football over. I'm not going to say that. I think that in order for the Chiefs to win, they need to run the ball, and I think that they need Kareem Hunt to go over 50 yards rushing in this game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that could be something that we talk about in a couple of videos in the future, who should start in this game, because I think that we're both on the same page. A guy that sounds like, I was going to try to make a joke about what rhymes with Isaiah Pacheco. I don't even know what rhymes with Isaiah Pacheco, but I feel like Kareem Hunt will probably be the starter in this game.
Yeah, and I think he's your best option at running back at this point, and he's proven to be the most consistent, the most reliable, and he can get you a lot of those tough yards that Isaiah Pacheco can't. There was a clip posted on Twitter earlier. I think it was Seth Kaiser. He was going over the tape from the Texans game, and Kareem Hunt just slipped through the tiniest of holes, and it feels like a play that Isaiah Pacheco would have ran in the back of his blocker and fell down for a 2-yard gain.
Yeah. Another good one, penalties. The Buffalo Bills do not commit a lot of penalties, if I'm correct. And so if you can avoid those, especially the pre-snap ones, Jawan Taylor, I swear to God, if Jawan Taylor sells in this game, I am going to be livid. I don't think he is. Andy Reid was actually super happy with what Jawan Taylor performed on Saturday. But like King Jamie says, like the biggest key is going to be the turnover battle. If the Chiefs can win the turnover battle, the Buffalo Bills really haven't turned the ball over either. That's like Josh Allen's big claim this year is that, oh, he's completely different. He's throwing for all these touchdowns and yards, and he's not throwing it into harm's way. But he also did throw a pick against us early on in the season. I think it was to Jamari Connor, if I'm correct.
Yep.
So you need to see them win this turnover battle. And if they don't win it, they cannot lose it.
Yeah. I think if you protect the football, because that was a mistake they made in the regular season game, you capitalize on your turnover or on their turnovers that they have. And again, just be successful in the red zone. Hand the ball to Kareem Hunt. I think you'll have a really good chance.
Yeah, I agree. So, guys, I appreciate all of you for joining this live stream Q&A. That is all the time we have for today. I guess last question to answer. Isaiah Pacheco is not hurt. He just hasn't been very effective recently. So that's why we think Kareem Hunt should be the starter. But again, Josh, that's all the time we have for this live stream Q&A. My final question for you is, where can the people find you?
You can find me here on YouTube, Show Me Football channel name. Check out my work on showmefootball.com, arrowheadaddict.com. Follow me on Twitter at showmefb. And then Michael, for the people watching on my side, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on YouTube at KC Sports Report. That's kind of the one-stop shop for everything that I do. I also live stream this on Instagram as well. You can follow me on there at KC_Sports Report. So until next time, guys, thank you for watching this live stream. And as always, go Chiefs.